Across the country, various cities have their own unique version of a Chinatown, but none are more famous than the original Chinatown right here in San Francisco. The origins of this neighborhood go back to the gold rush, when many Chinese people heard that there was a mountain of gold in the United States, and they chased their dreams of economic opportunity. In 1852, 20,000 Chinese immigrants came to California. And although their hard work was welcomed at first, people soon realized that gold was scant and the rumors were way overblown. Jobs became scarce and economic competition sparked outrage and resentment against the Chinese people. But out of this adversity, the close-knit Chinese community came together to form places where they could escape the bigotry, preserve their culture, and support one another as they carved out a new life in this hostile land. The Chinese miners that came to the United States in the mid-1800s to pursue gold were desperate to send money back to their family and pay off the debts that they accrued while journeying to America. But as such, they quickly earned a reputation for their hard work, perseverance, and willingness to explore lands long abandoned by white prospectors who felt such work was beneath them. Because Chinese laborers earned significantly less than their white counterparts, the perception that Chinese labor was cheap fueled the belief that the Chinese were taking jobs and driving down wages for white workers. And in 1852, the governor of California urged the state legislature to further check the tide of Asiatic immigration. Before long, more white Americans became swayed by racist stereotypes and fears about the growing number of Chinese immigrants. And one newspaper, the Daily Alta, called the Chinese morally worse than black people, cunning and deceitful and unable to ever integrate into American society. Violence escalated and mobs threw rocks at the Chinese, mockingly pulled on their hair, and subjected them to terrible verbal abuse. One elder remembered that the Chinese were treated worse than dogs. Residents often justified their bigotry under the guise of protecting labor rights. So in 1877, as further economic decline hit the US hard, a crowd of thousands, including many teenage boys, gathered to attack the Chinese population of San Francisco. One report claimed that the mob organized for days and made a list of every home that a Chinese person lived in. By the end of their rampage, it was reported that, quote, there was not a single home left which was not utterly and completely sacked. In one instance, the laundromat that employed a 25-year-old Chinese man named Wang Zhou was set on fire. And when the fire was finally put out, his dead body was found inside. But this was just one small part in a growing wave of anti-Chinese sentiment. Shortly after, a prominent organizer of the Working Men's Party in San Francisco popularized the saying, "The Chinese must go." In 1882, the Chinese Exclusion Act was finally signed into law, prohibiting Chinese laborers from arriving in the US and preventing the ones here from getting their US citizenship. Throughout this time, as Chinese people were so often attacked and excluded, those in San Francisco congregated their homes and businesses. The support systems that Chinatown offered made it a necessary enclave for the Chinese community. For example, benevolent societies helped newly arrived immigrants settle, and they built important cultural resources like temples. Soon, this area grew to encompass over 10 city blocks and was known as Little Canton, the Chinese Quarter, and finally, Chinatown. By 1880, 30% of Chinese immigrants to California lived in San Francisco. Many of them started their own businesses like laundromats and restaurants. It wouldn't be until after the Chinese Exclusion Act in the late 1880s that the fear of economic competition with the Chinese was mitigated, and other San Franciscans began to accept them. This town grew to cater not only to the Chinese community, but to all San Franciscans and to visitors from around the world. And stemming from this very first Chinatown, scores of others sprang up across the country, becoming an iconic symbol of cultural heritage nationwide.